Check your answers to 42 through 49. "42 says which is most likely the equation of the line graphed. So remember, when we need the equation of a line, a lot of the times we're looking for slope-intercept form. Remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept, or where it crosses the y-axis. So I look at this line, it goes through the origin, so b is 0. The y-intercept is 0 when it crosses the origin. Then I look at the slope. This has negative slope, right? So recall when you're finding slope from a graph that we're finding the change in y over the change in x. So we're going to draw our little triangle. The change in y, it's negative because it's going down. Nice negative. The change in y is 1. The change in x is 1, so my slope is negative 1. So when I plug that into y equals mx plus b, I get y equals negative 1x plus 0. But we're not going to write that negative 1. We're just going to write negative x. We're not going to write the plus 0 because we don't have to. So we get b. "43 says what is the equation of the line below in slope-intercept form? It is written in standard form, so we're going to change it to slope-intercept form. So I'm going to copy it over here. Standard form means I'm isolating y. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Remember, I can't combine those, 6 and minus x, so I copy them. Always write the x first. Then I'm going to divide through everything by negative 3. I isolate y. Remember, there's a 1 here, so negative 1 over negative 3 is positive 1/3 x. And then right here, 6 over negative 3 is negative 2. So I get y equals 1/3 x minus 2. 44 asks for the slope of this line, and it's in standard form. What's the easiest way to get slope? Well, that's from slope-intercept form. So I'm going to take 2x plus 5y equals 15. I'm going to put it in slope-intercept form. If you remember how to do that, you might want to pause the video right now and try to move it and transform it into slope-intercept form on your by yourself. So let's subtract 2x from both sides. I get 5y equals negative 2x plus 15. Then you divide everything by 5. And y is negative 2/5 x plus 3. And my slope is right here. So m is negative 2/5. "45 says which is true given the linear equation below. They give us an equation in standard form, and they ask us a couple of questions. They ask a question about slope. Slope is usually easiest to find in slope-intercept form. They ask a question about x-intercept. They ask a question about y-intercept, which can be done in slope-intercept or standard form. And then they ask a question about a point. A couple of things we could do here. Let's go ahead and look at the x-intercept since we're in standard form. The x-intercept is where y is 0, so we're going to say 3x plus 4 times 0 equals 4. So 3x equals 4. We're going to divide both sides by 3, and x is 4/3. Is the x-intercept 3? No. Could we find y-intercept here? We could, couldn't we? But let's put it, I'm going to go ahead and put it in slope-intercept form because we need the practice and it will tell us a couple of things. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. 4y equals negative 3x plus 4. I'm going to divide through by 4. And I get y equals negative 3/4 x plus 1. Does it have positive slope? No, the slope is negative 3/4, so it doesn't have positive slope. Is the y-intercept 1? Is b 1? Yes. So that appears to be my answer. Now, how would we check if we wanted to check if this point went through it? Well, we would plug in x and y. We would plug that into the equation, and we would see if it's true. And we're going to find out it's not. So the y-intercept is 1. (46) asks, what is the equation of the line with a slope of 3 passing through the point 1, negative 3? We have a couple of ways to do this. I'm going to show you one way on this problem, and I'm going to show you another way on the next time this comes up. Notice all these answers are in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to isolate y. The first thing we're going to use is slope-intercept form. Remember where we saw for b, where we took y equals mx plus b, and we plugged in this point, negative 3 equals, the slope is 3 times x is 1 plus b. And what do we get? And we solve for the y-intercept. Remember doing this? And we get b is negative 6. So I plug that back in. Y equals, the slope is 3, and b is 6. So 3x minus 6. I'll show you how to use point slope form in a few minutes. (47) asks, which is the equation of the line graphed below? Notice here, all the answers are in standard form. So once I get slope-intercept form, I have to fix it. But we got to find slope-intercept form first. So let's look. What's my b? B is, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. B is 4. And what's my slope? It's a positive slope. And it looks like it is positive 1/2, up 1 and over 2, I believe. So we're going to plug into slope-intercept form. Y equals 1/2 x plus 4. Now we need to put that in slope-intercept form. I mean, not slope-intercept form, standard form. So the first thing we do is we look for that fraction, and we are going to multiply through by 2 to get rid of that fraction. So we get 2y equals x, and 2 times 4 is 8. Then what we did in class is we moved this over here, and we got minus x plus 2y equals 8. Well, I look over here, and it doesn't match any of these exactly. It looks a little bit like these, except both of these are positive. So how do I make this a positive? If I divide through, if I change the signs of everything and divide through by negative 1, I get x minus 2y equals negative 8. And that's perfectly legal as long as we do it to everything. So x minus 2y equals negative 8, and that happens to match D. Notice all the signs were just the opposite of what I got a minute ago. (48) What is the equation of the line passing through the points negative 3, 7 and 3, 3? This is where we're going to review point slope form. So first of all, let's find our slope. I've got x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope is 3 minus 7 over 3 minus a negative 3, which becomes plus 3 minus 7 is negative 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. This simplifies. I get negative 2/3. So my slope is negative 2/3. We could pick one of these points and solve for B, but we're going to use point slope form. So if you'll recall point slope form, y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. So I'm going to plug in, I'm going to use this one because they're both positive. So y minus 3 equals negative 2/3 times x minus 3. So I distribute negative 2/3 x plus, what happens? That goes away. I get plus 2. Is that right? And let me move this up a little bit so I've got some room. Now I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 5. And I hope my answer's up there. I see it. I'm good. 49, ask for the equation that represents the linear relationship between x and y in the table. Now a table is just points. We could graph this, we could pick any 2 points and do what we have been doing. Remember, we want M and we want B. Well, how on earth are we going to get that from a table? Well, the intercept, B is the y-intercept. What's true about the y-intercept? The y-intercept, the x value is always 0, right? So in the table, we look for where x is 0. It's the point 0, 2. That is on the y-axis, so B is 2. Now, can I find slope from a table? Sure I can. I'm just going to pick 2 points. We could start with the negatives, but I'm going to do down here where it's positive just to make it easier. How do I get from 2 to 5? I add 3. How do I get from 0 to 1? I add 1. So my change in y over my change in x is 3 over 1. You could also use the slope formula. You can pick any 2 points, 1, 5 and 2, 8, and find your slope. I just did the table because it was easy enough. So M is 3, B is 2, so y equals 3x plus 2. My answer's D.